You're watching Backpages tonight. Welcome back to you at home. Welcome back to Martin Hardy. The Times, The Athletic's Carl Anker. Guys, got a lot to get through in the second part, so let's keep up the pace as we chat Manchester United, and we are heading to the back page of the Mirror. Michael Carrick and his future. No rush for job I love. Martin, is he just trying to play it safe here, try not to kind of be too, I suppose, vociferous about how much he really wants the job, wants an answer as to whether he's going to get it? Is he just kind of like, doesn't want to upset any of the hierarchy by just going, I love it, I'm happy to wait?
Yeah, he's in a difficult position. I have spoke to managers in the past who were the caretaker and kept saying they wanted the job and regretted that because they thought, with hindsight, it put too much pressure on the board of directors. On this one, I think Carrick is playing it as coolly as possible, to be seen as to put no pressure on anybody that could make a decision on his future. He's trying to let his results do his talking, and the level of calm that's over Manchester United at the minute, and the results that look very much like they're going to take the club back into the Champions League. That, to me, is about as emphatic as any argument he could present verbally in terms of trying to get the job. Every now and then he lets it slip, though. In that same interview, I enjoy being here. I love being here. It's a real privilege to be in the position I am. He says, I am thriving with the responsibility that we've got. There is no doubt whatsoever that he is desperate for that job. And as I said, he's doing everything in terms of results. You know, there's been a little bit of a wobble. They weren't very good against Leeds. They had a bad result against Newcastle. Don't for one second think that squad is the finished article. I still think there will be a review at the end of the season when they will talk about Michael Carrick or other managers, as we will see with the Chelsea situation. I know there's not that many jump out at the minute. Chelsea probably regret letting Tuchel and Maresca go. As for who Manchester United would move to, Pochettino is possibly one potential rival for Carrick. But at the minute, for Man United, for the first time in a while, the team is moving in the direction. There's a level of calm. They don't need to do anything, and it probably would be unwise to come back to what I said at the start here, for Carrick to start rocking that boat. At the minute, he just has to do what he's been doing, which is get results for that team, get players playing, and get to the end of the season of the Champions League, and then assess his situation. But don't down for a second, he is desperate for that job.
In the Star, keep calm and Carrick on is the headline. If they do make Champions League, and they need 6 more points, Carl, I mean, he's got every reason then to really knock on the door a little bit harder, doesn't he? I mean, why wouldn't United appoint him given the track record and that goal being achieved?
That's a very good question. So David Ornstein previously said Michael Carrick is in pole position right now. I think the only real sort of pebble in the river or rocking the bottom of your boot might be Sir Jim Ratcliffe's decision-making. Sir Jim Ratcliffe seems to want some sort of superstar head coach. If you look back to the end of the 23-24 season, when Eric Ten Hag looked like he was going to lose the FA Cup final to Manchester City, and Manchester United were quietly interviewing 2 or 3 targets. Number 1 on that list was Thomas Tuchel, and it seemed like Sir Jim Ratcliffe wanted a quote-unquote, put this in air quotes, winner in there. Someone who perhaps has a certain gravitas and has experience at managing a super club. Now, Martin is correct. The managerial market at this point in time is a little bit awkward. There are 2 or 3 names that are available that probably didn't expect to be available. So people like Enzo Maresca, Xavi Alonso, I think we all thought he'd last a lot longer at Real Madrid, for example. However, a bit more confusingly is there's a number of coaches that are in charge of national teams at the World Cup that I'm sure Premier League clubs would like to interview, but things are complicated. So someone like Mauricio Pochettino, as we've just discussed, who's with the United States men's team, or Carlo Ancelotti with Brazil, who's just renewed his contract, Thomas Tuchel, who's renewed his contract with England, or indeed someone like Julian Nagelsmann, who we at The Athletic have reported has been of interest to Manchester United. Christopher Vivell, who's head of the global recruitment at United, knows him from their time together at RB Leipzig. So there are some candidates, but they're not really people you can have in a face-to-face meeting right now, perhaps maybe on a Zoom call. So what I'd say is Michael Carrick has got everything done to get in a good internal interview, but there might be a small opportunity or small reason to believe that some external candidates may be invited into either Carrington or to one of Sir Jim Ratcliffe's luxury mansions somewhere around the world to have a quick chat about tactics somewhere between now and the end of the World Cup.
And I think, obviously, whoever's in charge could well affect the business they do in the summer although it's not always them, of course, who make those decisions. Back to you, Carl, on this and United's potential transfer business of the summer window. Some very interesting names, and as you can see there, Carlos Baleba and Mickey van der Ven amongst those. So, do you sense that this is the real chance for United to stamp a different kind of authority on this squad with some of those players? And what's your read on where United are and where they want to get to?
This is a fantastic piece written by Laurie Whitwell. He's been researching this steadily through a number of weeks, and he's been speaking to a number of people in and around the club. And the main conclusion we've come from this piece is Manchester United are going to be focusing very much on central midfield this summer. So if you look at last summer, it was about bolstering the front line. Mateus Cunha comes in, Brian Mbeumo comes in, and then Benjamin Sesko as a sort of surprise option. Many people didn't believe Manchester United had the budget to get Benjamin Sesko, but it seemed like they opened a new revolving credit facility in order to pay for that. Whereas now the focus is going to be on central midfield. We know Casemiro will be leaving in the summer, so option one will be getting that Casemiro successor. And it now appears to be that while Manchester United would like to sign Elliot Anderson, Nottingham Forest would be looking for a UK British transfer record in order to get him somewhere in the region of north of 100 million, perhaps even as high as 125 million to sign him. And I think that might mean Manchester City may beat Manchester United to the punch for Elliot Anderson. So then you go next into the list. One name that's come up that hasn't previously come up in any reporting is Aurelien Tchouameni this week. It has been known. So the Real Madrid superstar, the player who was phenomenal for France at the 2022 World Cup, scored against England in the quarterfinal stage as well. So he's been linked to Manchester United. He's been seen as an option, as has been Carlos Baleba and some other midfielders such as Mateus Fernandes at West Ham. Laurie has also looked into Manchester United possibly bolstering their defence. So they're looking into signing a left-footed centre-back of some sorts, possibly Mickey van der Ven. I think that might depend on the current relegation race as well. So lots of detail in the piece. I have no idea how Laurie does this. He either has a clone or just doesn't sleep, because